Hi YouTube. I wanted to check in with you this afternoon and kind of share with you a little bit about what's going on in our life and our family, and then give you kind of a little glimpse into something that I've been doing lately that's been helpful for us. So I haven't been on my channel or doing any content hardly all fall or winter because we found out in late September that we are expecting baby number 4. Which we're super excited about, and have since found out that it's a boy. So my oldest son is really excited about that. But with pregnancy in our household comes morning sickness, or if you've been lucky enough to experience it, all day sickness. And so for me, it's something that's pretty significant and pretty well hinders my ability to do anything. So my goal for the last 20 some weeks has been keeping everyone in my family alive. So we've been successful with that, and we're kind of getting out of the morning sickness, and I'm feeling a lot better now that we're getting towards the 3rd trimester. So we've been kind of getting back to our normal things, and I want to start getting back to doing some videos for you guys. And I know a lot of you are looking at curriculum as we're getting close to the end of the year and starting to think about next year, so I'm going to start trying to get some more of those review videos up. But I wanted to kind of share with you how we've survived the last 21 weeks of our life at our house. I'm currently sitting in my schoolroom, which I'm lucky enough to have a room that's dedicated to school. You can see my bookshelves behind me. I have a great place to store all of my resources, but we honestly have not used this room for school since October. I could not get myself down here every day and sit in this chair and sit at a table and do this with my kids. So in October, when I started getting really sick, I told my kids we're doing couch school, and that's what we've called it for the last several months. And we've gone from what you see behind me to this being our schoolroom. So I want this to encourage you in 2 situations. If you're going through a rough spot in your family, whether it's morning sickness, whether it's sickness of some other kind, there's lots of times when your family has to make adjustments. Or if you don't have a schoolroom and you're like, what do I do? You really can school out of something small like a basket. So depending on what your situation is, hopefully this will be helpful to you in a couple of ways. So this is the majority of my son's daily work, and his work comes really from 2 places. I have a video on how I set up my daily work or my weekly folders. So he has a folder that's already set up. If you can see over here in my green crate, that's where my weekly folders are. Those were already done. Everything was already set up. So at the beginning of the week, I just come down here and grab his folder. Then I can take all of his worksheets. This is a completed week because I'm just getting ready to switch stuff out for next week. I can come down here, take all of his worksheets for the whole week, and then I divide them up into these 4 folders. We school 4 days a week. And so he knows on day 1, he grabs this folder, day 2 is this orange, and then day 3 and day 4. So I can really quickly, usually while he's like watching his math DVD, I can get his papers sorted out into these folders really quickly. And then so he knows what he's doing precisely, because not every subject obviously has a worksheet that he's doing every day. It gets written down on his weekly checklist. This is pretty much my son's lesson plan for the whole year. I counted out our number of weeks, put in a couple extra, took it to Staples, had it spiral bound. It's got a laminated cover on it, and this is his work. He goes through, goes down the list, checks things off as he's done. So since I already had these weekly folders done before I got sick, this prep work maybe takes me 5 minutes every week, which I can handle that usually. So that gives him his daily work and everything that he's supposed to do. Then his work actually sits in this basket. So we could literally set this basket on the couch with us. He would take out his worksheets. I would pull out whatever book I needed to pull out. If we were doing grammar, I grabbed his grammar book out of the basket, flipped to the lesson where I had my little sticky note. That's the one we did. We put it back in. The other thing I decided when I got sick was that I immediately cut out science and history in terms of the curriculum that we were following. We've been reading some books as kind of read-alouds. We've been watching a couple of different documentaries, and then we'll talk about different things and read some books. So I tried to kind of keep going with our general topic, but I did not plan out this extensive science and history lesson plan. Now that I'm feeling better for the last few weeks, we've added science back in terms of the curriculum that we're using, which we happen to be using the God's Design series from Answers in Genesis. And I will get a review done on this now that we've used it a little bit more, because I know there's some people that are interested in this and there's not a whole lot out there on it. So I will get a review now that we've been through the 3 books by the end of the year. So we just kind of flip through everything, check it off on the checklist. We didn't do science and history in a real formal sense. And again, my oldest is in 1st grade, and then I have a preschooler and a 2-year-old. So they obviously don't really care. They were just happy to play and do whatever they wanted while we were getting our schoolwork done. But I wanted to stick with him and make sure we kept going with our language arts part and our math, and making sure he was getting, those core subjects that I didn't want him to get behind in. And it's something that I struggled with at the beginning. I knew I was going to get sick right away. It's just been the way that it's happened the last 3 times, so I didn't figure this time would be any different. So I really had to adjust my expectations. I very much like to have a checklist, and I very much like to check everything off every day. So I really had to figure out what was best for me and for my health, what was best for my kids, and not having a stressed out mom who already didn't feel good. And so we just really adjusted and kind of pared down. And the interesting thing is my kids really like it this way. They like being upstairs. They kind of like it better than actually being in the schoolroom. So they've already kind of asked about next year what we're going to do. We school year round, and we typically start the 1st week in July, and our next baby is due the middle of June. So that will kind of throw off our timing a little bit, because I want to have a little bit more time with him before we start school. And so they've asked, can we school upstairs? What are we going to do? They sort of like that. So I really haven't decided. And when I come up with something, I'll let you guys know. We have rearranged our playroom and stuff down here, so it might be easier to be down here next year, but we'll see how that goes. I'm learning to be flexible. That's the key with homeschooling, is being flexible. So if you don't have a schoolroom or don't have space for a room, you can have your kids' stuff in a basket or a crate or a file folder or whatever you want. Keep your resources in a closet somewhere, wherever you have space. You don't have to have a schoolroom set up. And if you are a family that's in the middle of some sort of stressful time in your life, whether it's a pregnancy, a new baby, a sickness of some other kind, don't be afraid to adjust your expectations. Don't be afraid to take what you thought you were going to do and do something different. We were able to get through kind of a pared down version. My son is an old 1st grader, so he's a little bit more self-sufficient sometimes. If he would have been a year younger or so, I probably would have pared this down even more. And just spend that time together, sitting on the couch. They like just sitting on the couch and being together. So really don't be afraid to adjust your expectations to get through whatever time you're trying to get through. Just off the top of my head, some other things that helped during this time, I really adjusted and pared down my meal planning. I picked a week and a half to 2 weeks worth of meals that I could make and that my kids could help make. There's a few things now that my 7-year-old can make almost all on his own, that we've eaten a lot this winter. So I wasn't trying to do all of these elaborate things. My 7-year-old pretty much makes breakfast now for him and his siblings, and he likes doing that, and it's this fun thing that they do every morning. My 4-year-old loves to make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, so she does that almost every day now. She loves to get all the stuff out and make them for her and her siblings. So my kids have really stepped it up. They've been amazing through this whole process. They've helped with laundry. We've kind of pared some of those things back. Back to meal planning, I've used a grocery pickup service. If you have a Walmart in your area that has grocery pickup, it's amazing to not have to go in and walk through the store and look at food when you don't feel good. It's super nice. So if you're in one of those trial times in your family, just make adjustments and don't feel bad about it. Don't feel guilty about it. It's what you have to do. And it made me probably a happier mom through not feeling good. And I think it really lessened the amount of time that I was sick compared to prior pregnancies where I was working and having to do all of this stuff. My morning sickness actually subsided earlier than it has in the past. So I was super thankful for that. And I attribute it some to the fact that my kids really stepped up, my husband could help with things, and I really pared down what the expectations were for our family. So if you have questions about that or want to know more or some more specific tips, I would love to try and help you out. This has been really helpful for us to just kind of pare down and focus on the basics. And like I said, now that I'm feeling better, I'm really hoping to get in and get some reviews done for you guys. I'll kind of wrap up and go over the things that we did use this year and what worked really well, and then what we're looking for next year. So if you have questions about specific curriculums or things you want to see, let me know, and I'll be getting some videos up in the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and happy homeschooling.